So this is my 1980 Lincoln Continental. So I want to make a video documenting the emissions equipment on this car because I'm going to be removing most of it for the time being. Eventually I do want to restore this car to factory configuration under hood, but I don't have the parts to do that right now. But eventually in time, whenever I've gathered all of them, I want to do that. So that stuff will be going back into the car. So in order for me to remember how this all goes, I'm going to make a video here documenting it. This also might help anybody else who's out here trying to figure out this mess of malaise era vacuum line and whatnot. So this car originally was equipped with really 4 different emissions control systems that are all controlled by the EEC-III PCM, which is over here. That's this thing right here. You can see this is the harness for the EEC module. And so you had your evaporative emission system, you had your EGR, you had your smog system, which is down there and also on the back, and then you also had your catalytic converters. And well, I guess this car also would have had a 5th one, which would be the variable Venturi carburetor, which I do have one, but that would have a throttle position sensor on it and a stepper motor that can lean or richen the mixture based on input to the PCM from the O2 sensors. So I guess we'll start with the smog system. So this here, this isn't part of the smog system. This is a sensor for the EEC. It's a, I think, barometric pressure sensor. This can detect your altitude or atmospheric pressure. These here are 2 solenoids for controlling your smog system. So these go. So this thing here can switch from cat injection, which is down there, to head injection. This car does not have head injection anymore, but originally that tube would have gone to the back of the motor there, and then this tube here would have gone down to the smog pump, which is no longer on this car. But so there are some lines which run. This line goes here to this left solenoid, and then this line here, this goes there, and then this line, there's lines here that go to both of these, I assume to supply vacuum, and this line runs all the way over here, and then that line goes into the EGR valve, and then also splits off here for a check valve. Although this check valve is not original to this car, so this is, because that's a 1973 part number. So this has been monkeyed with a little bit by the previous owner, so I don't know entirely how all of it goes, but you also have this vacuum line running to your pressure sensor. I believe there also would have been a line that went here. I don't know where that goes now, or where it went. This line runs from pressure sensor down, and then down to the vacuum tee on the back of the manifold. This here is the PCV valve. Here, this is the wiring harness for the PCM. So this also splits off in the back of the motor and goes to your O2 oxygen sensors. So this is for your coolant temperature sensor right there. This throttle position sensor. These 2 are for the crankshaft position sensor, which isn't on this car anymore, but it'd be down there. This is for the stepper motor on the variable venturi carburetor. Actually, yeah, wait, no, I'm wrong. These two are for the crank sensor. This here is for, pretty sure, one of the evap. Yep, that's for this evap solenoid. So that's all that stuff for the harness. This harness then runs, you can see here where it goes to the two O2 sensors, and then it runs back. It also tees off here, goes to the EGR, and it also goes, this goes down here to, I don't know, there's something on the tranny. EGR. No, that's part of a different harness. I'm wrong. So this goes back. Part of the PCM harness still. Then this goes to our smog control solenoids. Then get one to the starter relay, and then one to this negative terminal, which goes to the battery. So going to the other side, these are our EGR control solenoids, and then this here is for the throttle kicker. This car doesn't have one on it, but it would be right there, and this vacuum line goes to it, connects to the throttle kicker. As you can see, this line, I don't know what this would have gone to. Perhaps the vacuum tee, perhaps the carburetor. I really don't have any idea, but it goes to both of the EGR solenoids. EGR solenoids would have to get vacuum from somewhere. So this is for the throttle kicker. This line, I'm gonna guess that maybe these two connected at some point, but you can see this here and that there. These two, the throttle kicker solenoid and the EGR solenoid on the left, are connected, and then the two EGR solenoids here are connected to this line here. And then there's a line that goes from the right side EGR solenoid to the throttle kicker again. So then this is obviously part of the PCM harness, which is here. PCM harness runs down here and then also connects to your EGR solenoids, and the PCM harness goes back here behind the brake master cylinder, behind your wiper motor, connects here. It also tees off here and connects to your main harness. This car has been converted to DuraSpark 2, but originally it would have had DuraSpark 3. Here is the connector for that. This should go back to the PCM. Yes, it does. So this goes back to PCM here. So that's the EGR to the best, and the smog to the best of my understanding. So here's the evap. There's one line that comes off the charcoal canister. It's a hard line, and then it comes up here, and then it splits off. So this line would go to the carburetor, I believe, like right in the front on your variable carburetor. This would be the line that goes from the bowl to the charcoal canister. And then this line, where it splits off here, this goes right to the manifold, so that would be vent of the charcoal canister, I believe, which would, you know, let it into the motor. And then this lets from the gases from the carb into the charcoal canister. And you can see here is the ground for that. And then interestingly, the connector for the charcoal canister vent, or sorry, the gas vent, is part of the main engine harness, not the PCM harness. So this, I believe, is the electric choke, although I could be wrong on that. It's not, there's no connector on it, obviously. This is a ground that would go on the carb stud. Here's the connector for that solenoid. So this car no longer has head injection, but if it did, it would have these metal tubes below the EGR valve on the back of the motor, and they would have a hose which runs to here. And then this hose, obviously, like I said, would run down to the smog. That's really all there is to it. You have here some lines for, this is a vacuum reserve canister. This line goes here, and then it connects to this second vacuum reserve canister. Yes, this car has two of them. And then this line goes back behind the motor. And I believe it goes, I'm trying to, actually, this looks like it goes into the firewall. Hold on. I'm trying to feel back here. No, it doesn't. It goes. Actually, no, I think it does. I believe that line goes, I believe that's this line right here, and then I think it goes to this T, which goes into the firewall. This is the vacuum manifold for the interior stuff. See, there's a main supply here that goes to the vacuum T, and this line goes to this big line here goes, where does that go? Is that for the brake booster? No. This big line goes to our, that's the vacuum supply to the cruise. And then this line from the cruise goes into the firewall. Right down there. PCV here. This tube goes into the manifold. I have my alternator off right now and my power steering pump. Don't worry about that. That's all there is to it, really. It's not all that complicated. But just so I can sort of remember how all this various stuff goes, I'm making this video here. Some of it I still have yet to figure out, like I said. Like, for example, where this line would go, or if there even is supposed to be one there. But it's all for the future. Who knows, maybe I won't even ever be able to find all the parts I need to make this work again. The smog pump, I need another smog pump. I need to fix the tubes for the cat injection that rotted off, and then the previous owner just plugged it. And then also I need to add back the tubes on the back of the head for the head injection. Then I have a variable venturi carburetor, and I have the crank sensor and all that, so that shouldn't be a problem. But I don't even know if the PCM works. I haven't tested it. I need a Durst, and I need a Durst-Perk 3 distributor. I do have a module though, and again, I don't know if any of that works, so who knows. But that's how it all is on this car.